This is Wes Burdine of the Do Nord Futbol Show, reporting from Minnesota United FC's training this week. They were up at National Sports Center in Blaine, practicing in the main stadium today, and I talked with Coach Manny Lagos about last week's frustrating 1-1 draw with the New York Cosmos and how they were preparing for this Sunday's matchup with FC Edmonton. You can check out the Do Nord Futbol Show on iTunes, Stitcher, Friendster, Facebook, everywhere, or on the blog, which is donordfootball.com. Again, I'm Wes at MNNiceFC. Here's Manny Lagos. So, head coach Manny Lagos, I wanted to first start by just getting your reactions to Saturday's game against the New York Cosmos. It was a 1-1 draw. New York Cosmos were down to 10 men for most of the game. Just give me your reactions to it.
I think my first reaction is probably like all the fans involved. You're disappointed that you couldn't have gotten 3 points out of a game that after 10 minutes in you really think you should manage. So I think it's disappointment and a tad frustrating. When I look at the overall view, I'm a little bit more observant about. The guys did put an effort in and dealt with a desperate team that had nothing to lose, and it became hard to maybe manage the game that we would have liked to win. And so I'm disappointed the guys didn't manage the stresses or adversity the game presented. But I'm going to acknowledge it was difficult. Psychologically, that game, the Cosmos, basically any chance they had, even if it was a half chance, felt like a full chance. That weighs on you mentally. Any half chance we had maybe didn't feel like a chance at all, like it just meant like we were playing bad. So I think for us, it was one of those games where there was a lot to be learned from it. For me as a coach, how to coach that length of time being down a man. I don't think I've done it for a very long time. So again, I'm going to say that their chances mostly really came from us little individual mistakes. It wasn't like they were really dominating. But certainly we didn't play well enough to really justify getting out there with 3 points. I think we're going to put our hands up and say, hey, we have to get better. And it certainly is nicer putting our hands up saying that, getting a point on the road against the defending champions. It's a great place to be.
Yeah. Since there's a good likelihood that you will be meeting the Cosmos in the postseason, and so, or there's at least a chance, what do you... How do you look forward and think, all right, next time I want to make sure we can possess. Next time I want to make sure we do this. Did you take any lessons going forward from this past game?
I think there's tactical and technical lessons. I think anytime we play a game, if you're just talking about the Cosmos, I'm not going to worry about them until the next time we play them here. So the reality is I think our guys are very well aware of the expectations for us to learn from that game and get ready for next week. And if we do play the Cosmos again, I don't look at the past, I look at the future. And hopefully we're evolving. By the time we play them again, we're a better, stronger team. And that's the goal.
Yeah. In today's training, you're prepping for Sunday's game against FC Edmonton. They're coming off of finally starting to get their season going. They've got a few wins. What was today's training? How were you thinking about that game on Sunday? What were you looking for?
Sure. I think... from a mental aspect, I think we really wanted to make sure, from the frustrating over the weekend that we got out there and put the work in, honest technical and tactical work. Just because I know a team like Edmonton, they are playing really well right now, and they're in a moment where they're organized, they're physical, and they are certainly one of the tougher teams right now, I think, in the league to play against because of the qualities I think they've built up as a team. So I think for us that was first and foremost to maybe move on from the weekend, but then it was to address some of the issues that we felt like didn't go quite so well from the weekend. Some of our midfield possession, some of our really breaking out of the midfield and how we break lines and create space in terms of running forward and getting numbers forward. I think, again, I'm not going to put all the onus on the guys because I think that was a tough balance to figure out when to go forward and not when you're up a man. But I think the evidence of today's session was more about action as opposed to inaction. So the goal for us today was to make sure the guys use that action as a positive, as opposed to if you don't have any action, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. Is that a matter of speeding the game up, slowing the game down, or how are you kind of looking to push the game to make that possession matter.
Sure, I think that's what we kind of did the drills today, but I think the tempo of the game is both. You want to speed it up and slow it down at the right moments, and you want to have your brain functioning at a high level the entire time, whatever you decide to do. And I think for us today, the session was a little bit about in the smaller spaces, pushing a tempo in the midfield and deciding when you want to push into the attacking third. And we kind of had some drills that made the guys think about how they would get into the final third. And then when they're in the final third, to finish off with quality, because ultimately today and the weekend, at the times we did get into good spots in the offensive third, we really did not make the best decisions like we usually do. So that's an easy one to correct, I think, from a mental standpoint, but just from a tactical standpoint, I think the guys really need to remind themselves that they have to be aggressive sometimes in terms of going forward, and that'll lead to good chances and good moments, or at least create space to keep the ball.
Finally, just we saw Rafael Burgos finally get on the field for the team. What did you see there? Were you pleased with what you saw for that? I think it was 12, 13 minutes.
I really was. I thought he showed some nice composure, kept the ball really well. Had one really good movement where he almost played Christian in, and that was nice to see. And I thought there was a nice professionalism about him in terms of coming into the game. And I think a tough moment where we could easily have put our heads down even more. And I think he kind of picked the guys up. And we did have some decent chances at the end of the game there. I thought we could have done well, and he was a part of that. So it was encouraged to see him fit and healthy. He's still getting his fits back, but he's training well. He had a good session today, so it was really nice to see him get in there and show some nice composure for the team.
Yeah. You're listening to the Denord Futbol Show from Minneapolis, Minnesota.